Several days later, the GS school sent an envoy to congratulate the Holy Mother sect. Another few days passed. The heavenly race also went to congratulate the Holy Mother sect. Two top factions supported the new sect. The Holy Mother sect's level instantly increased. News spread throughout the immortal world in a short period of time, and the limelight was unparalleled. 10 years later, the disciples of the Holy Mother sect began to increase. The immortal world was too vast in the nearby GS school's territory. The living beings who wanted to join the Holy Mother sect had to travel mountains and rivers. Hanju was very satisfied when he saw that the Holy Mother sect was flourishing. He continued to cultivate. Year after year passed. 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected that you are 90,000 years old. You have the following choices. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and head to the deity realm of the ruins of N to pursue the Great Tao. You can obtain a heavenly Tao spirit stone, a Great Tao fragment, and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Cultivate in a low-profile manner and avoid karma. You can obtain a Great Tao fragment and a chance to upgrade the Tao field. Upgrade the Tao field! Finally! It had been a long time. Hanju directly chose the second option. You chose to cultivate in a low-profile manner and obtained a Great Tao fragment and a chance to upgrade the Tao field. The Tao field has begun to upgrade. It took time to level up the Tao field. Hanju stopped waiting and focused on cultivating. He was getting closer and closer to the perfected primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal realm. 100 years later, the Tao field has been upgraded. The array formation has been upgraded to the Great Tao Supreme level. The Tao field's internal space has been expanded. Tao field immortal chi has increased by 10 times. Khanate chi has increased by 10 times. You levels up Tez on NOVLB, calm. The Tao field can block the prying of Tao creator level existences. Tao creator. The meaning of creating the Great Tao? Hanju thought silently and felt safe. Even if Dijuan and ancestor Shitian attacked, they shouldn't be able to rush in. Hanju adjusted his state of mind and continued cultivating. Time passed. After the birth of the Holy Mother sect, more Zenith Heaven sects appeared. The connection between the mortal worlds and the immortal world became closer and closer. Mortals constantly came to the immortal world, and many living beings from the immortal world also went to the mortal worlds. They complemented each other and improved together. The heavenly Tao's providence was becoming stronger because of this. Compared to before the calamity, the immortal world was even more prosperous and peaceful. In such a dazzling era, all living beings were cultivating diligently. Although there were conflicts, they were not too tragic. The main focus was to fight for providence and earn the heavenly Tao merit. Time flew. 3,000 years passed. Hanju finally attracted the opportunity to break through. He opened his eyes and adjusted his Tao heart. With the opportunity to break through, he first looked at Han Tuo. Recently, this fellow had not been cultivating in seclusion. Instead, he had been fighting everywhere and expanding the Divine Palace's territory. Hanju looked at Hanyu next. This guy did not stay on the Buzhou Divine Mountain. Instead, he traveled around and had already arrived near the GS school. Be it Huang Zuantian, Li Yao, or the others, if they saw Hanyu, they would definitely guess his relationship with Hanju, so he was still very safe. During the time that Hanju was in seclusion, Han Tuo and Hanyu encountered many things and had abundant experiences. Among them, Hanyu and a woman developed a romantic relationship. Hanyu wanted to be responsible for it, but the other party rejected him. The reason why he was rejected was that his cultivation was too weak. This was a huge blow to Hanyu. He didn't mention Li Daokong because he wanted to rely on his own strength to prove it. Hanju looked at the Holy Mother sect again. It had developed very smoothly and had more than 10,000 disciples now. The GS school and the heavenly race also sent cultivation resources to them from time to time, as if they were fighting to rope in the Holy Mother sect. Not bad. The Holy Mother sect's rapid rise had already allowed Liao to enter the Heavenly Tao Providence board. Although her ranking was at the 900,000 mark, it was a good beginning. Hanju's gaze landed on the three pure sacred ancestor. This fellow had always been in seclusion, and he rarely paid attention to him. Hanju raised his eyebrows and looked to be deep in thought. The three pure sacred ancestor, who was hiding in his Taoist temple, was wrapped by a strange gray aura that was trying to sever his connection with the heavenly Tao. Hanju pinched his fingers to deduce. He couldn't guess who did it. He had to use the derivation function to deduce. 4 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. A figure appeared in Hanju's mind. It was him. Hanju was enlightened. He was not surprised. Instead, he felt that it should be him. It was done by Heavenly Venerate Shendu. The three pure sacred ancestor was originally controlled by Li Mui. After Li Mui died, Heavenly Venerate Shendu inherited the sage position. It was normal for him to target the three pure sacred ancestor. The three pure sacred ancestors' identity was too important. He was invincible in the immortal world and was definitely an extremely important pawn to sages. Hanju thought for a moment and moved the three pure sacred ancestor in front of him. Then, he used absolute purification on him and the system's power to eliminate the Heavenly Venerate's control. The three pure sacred ancestor heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Hanju. Hanju asked, "When did Heavenly Venerate Shendu find you?" The three pure sacred ancestor said, "Several hundred years ago. He said that he could help me escape the Heavenly Tao's control. But you will be controlled by him." I had my doubts, but the three pure sacred ancestor revealed a rare expression of humanity. Hanju said, "Work for me well. It's not so good outside the immortal world. Don't be fooled." Understood. After being enslaved by the primordial heavenly prison, the three pure sacred ancestor only listened to Hanju. After the absolute purification ended, Hanju put the three pure sacred ancestor back. He wasn't afraid of being discovered by Heavenly Venerate Shendu. Repeating absolute purification would deduct a large amount of his lifespan. It was better to warn him to give up. Before long, Heavenly Venerate Shendu sent you a dream. Do you accept? Hanju hesitated for a moment before choosing to accept it. Heavenly Venerate Shendu was not his match, so the dream should not threaten him. Previously, when he went to the 33rd heaven, he was afraid that an unknown enemy was hidden. In the dream, Hanju and Heavenly Venerate Shendu stood in a resplendent galaxy. Looking up, Hanju felt that this galaxy looked familiar. It was like the Milky Way. Heavenly Venerate Shendu stared at him and said, "Fellow Taoist, do you want the three pure sacred ancestor?" Hanju said, "Yes, it's the price Li Mui paid for plotting against me. The three pure sacred ancestor has already submitted to me. I hope you can give me face." The two of them confronted each other with a solemn atmosphere. After a long while, Heavenly Venerate Shendu said, "Forget it, I'll give him to you. However, I have something that I hope you can help me with." "What is it?" "There have been more than 10 immeasurable calamities established by the Heavenly Tao. A long time ago, a mighty figure called Jin Yuanzi left the immortal world and established the Earth Immortal World in unknown territory. The Earth Immortal World developed very well, and Jin Yuanzi even obtained the Tao ancestors' help. Jin Yuanzi, Earth Immortal World. Could it be the world where the solar system of Earth was located?" Hanju thought. Heavenly Venerate Shendu continued, "Jin Yuanzi absorbed the Earth Immortal World's providence and transcended the Great Tao. He also nurtured a chaotic fiend celestial called the Destruction Fiend Celestial. I'm afraid he has ill intentions. Now, Jin Yuanzi has already abandoned the Earth Immortal World. I plan to annex the Earth Immortal World and use it to devour him." Hanju asked, "What should I do?" "It was a little dangerous." Heavenly Venerate Shendu said, Join forces with me and create a special space to recruit a portion of the living beings in the Earth Immortal World. As our pawns, they will cross the river of destiny of the Earth Immortal World and erase Jin Yuanzi's insignia in it until the Earth Immortal World is completely separated from him. This method was a little familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. Hanju was secretly curious. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu continued, many mighty figures in the deity realm of the ruins of End have tried such methods. The effect is not bad. Furthermore, with them in front, it's very difficult for us to be suspected. We will choose a batch of living beings and attract them to do missions as a reward. We will erase the Earth Immortal World's River of Destiny. When the River of Destiny is in chaos and the Heavenly Tao collapses, the Earth Immortal World will belong to us. Wasn't this the over God's space? Infinity genre? Hanju asked. After success, who will the Earth Immortal World belong to? We can just create a force. We don't have to personally participate in this to prevent us from being unable to escape karma. Hanju cursed silently. It meant that if the matter was exposed, they could shift the blame. Hanju asked, it's impossible for Jin Yuanzi not to notice, right? This matter is still too dangerous. I don't want to participate. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu said, Jin Yuanzi nurtured the destruction fiend Celestial with the intention to kill. If we obtain the Earth Immortal World, we will have a huge opportunity. My master guessed that the Earth Immortal World has the inheritance of the Tao ancestor, but Jin Yuanzi doesn't know this. If we obtain the Earth Immortal World, we can develop a second Heavenly Tao and have an extra path of life. Hanju asked, who else did you find? You and I are enough. Hanju asked silently in his mind, is what Heavenly Venerate Xiandu said true? 4 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. He's not lying. He was not lying? This meant that the content might not be true. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu might only be guessing. However, it was fine as long as Heavenly Venerate Xiandu was sincere. I have to consider this. You shouldn't be in a hurry, right? Hanju said. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu nodded. I'll wait for you, but it can't be more than 1,000 years at most. I've already begun to create it. All right. The dream ended. Hanju opened his eyes and asked in his mind, I want to know what the outcome will be if I trust Heavenly Venerate Xiandu and follow him. 4 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Hanju entered an illusion. He came to a mysterious hall. It was 1,000 feet wide and 10,000 feet long. The walls of the hall were transparent, and one could see the resplendent galaxy. Looking up, the top of the hall surged with chaotic chi. Looking forward, statues of different postures were standing on both sides. Hanju saw Suchi standing opposite a mysterious man. The mysterious man said, the Providence already belongs to us. Next, we can attack other space and annex other little heavenly Tao. Suchi said, let's wait a little longer. The reincarnators are still too weak. They can't compare to other space. They aren't cultivating to gain strength in the first place. How can they wait? Suchi was about to answer when the hall suddenly shook violently. A terrifying pressure descended. The surging chaotic chi at the top of the hall transformed into a huge face. Only its facial features could be seen, making it difficult to see its true appearance. Humph, how dare you steal my Earth Immortal World? You're courting death. The hall in front of Hanju turned into dust at a speed visible to the naked eye. Suchi and the mysterious man wanted to escape, but they were blocked by an invisible force and could only turn into dust. The illusion ended. Hanju showed a frown. Was he destined to fail? I want to know Jin Yuanzi's cultivation level. Hanju continued to ask. He had to figure out the enemy's strength first before deciding if he should participate. 50 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 50 billion years? But it was not too ridiculous. Continue. Jin Yuanzi, late stage of the freedom sage realm, ancestor of the earth immortal world, immeasurable emperor. The late stage of the freedom sage realm was not too strong. Even if he offended him, could the other party enter his Dao field to deal with him? Hanju fell into deep thought. Actually, he felt that he could cooperate with Heavenly Venerate Shendu. In any case, he was sending pawns and not his main body. If Heavenly Venerate Shendu and I carry out the plan, how long until Jin Yuanzi notices? 50 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. At least 1 billion years. Currently, he is in seclusion in a certain great Dao land, isolated from the outside world. 1 billion years? What was there to fear? 1 billion years later, Hanju could definitely crush Jin Yuanzi with one hand. Hanju began to think about his disciples. He couldn't let the personal disciples go. What if something happened? Hanju suddenly thought of someone. Immortal Emperor Samsara. Immortal Emperor Samsara was very suitable to lead the reincarnators. Hanju immediately sent a dream to Immortal Emperor Samsara and told him about this. Immortal Emperor Samsara fell silent. Hanju was not in a hurry and waited patiently. After a long while, Immortal Emperor Samsara asked, "Is there a chance to become a sage in this matter?" Hanju said, "The earth immortal world forms a heavenly Tao and can naturally support a sage. In addition, I also have a way for you to become a sage. If you do well, I won't mistreat you. You don't have to worry. I'm working with the Heavenly Venerate Shendu. You have the support of 2 sages, the 2 strongest in the immortal world." Immortal Emperor Samsara suddenly thought of something. Should we bring this matter to the Divine Palace? I definitely need manpower. Hanju shook his head. You can't be too ostentatious. As for subordinates, you can just bring your trusted aides. All right. Immortal Emperor Samsara agreed to this matter, and Hanju asked him to prepare manpower. After that, Hanju didn't inform Heavenly Venerate Shendu immediately but started cultivating. There was no need to be so anxious if the deadline was in 1,000 years. 300 years later, Hanju sent a dream to Heavenly Venerate Shendu and said that he agreed to his proposal. Heavenly Venerate Shendu revealed a rare smile. Very good. Have you chosen the executioner? Hanju nodded. You can name this special space as a show of my sincerity, Heavenly Venerate Shendu said. He paused for a moment and said, this matter will not taint you with karma. After we discuss, the name will be personally named by the executioner. How sinister, how considerate. Hanju said in a low voice, let's call it the reincarnation space. I'll send someone to your Dao field. You can arrange it yourself. I still have to cultivate normally. Yes, sure. After the dream ended, Hanju sent a dream to Immortal Emperor Samsara and asked him to bring people to the 33rd heaven to find Heavenly Venerate Shendu. After that, Hanju began to observe. Immortal Emperor Samsara did not bring Hantua along. This meant that he did not have any ulterior motives. However, Han Ming followed Immortal Emperor Samsara. Hanju didn't care too much about this younger brother who had already cut ties with him. Han Ming treated Hantua well. If he really encountered danger, Hanju would save him if he could. That was all. Immortal Emperor Samsara left the immortal world with 100 trusted aides. Hanju sorted out his emotions and started to break through. He could have broken through long ago, but he was disturbed by Heavenly Venerate Shendu. Next was the perfected primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal realm and the freedom sage realm. Jia School, in the sect master's Taoist temple. Huang Zuantian was meditating when the messenger disciple suddenly entered. Report the golden crow demon emperor has been defeated by our sect's primordial golden immortal. However, the Buddhist sect suddenly interfered and saved him. The messenger disciple said in a low voice. Huang Zuantian opened his eyes and frowned. Who from the Buddhist sect attacked? Primordial Chaos Buddha. Huang Zuantian was moved. Primordial Chaos Buddha was a newly established Buddha of the Buddhist sect. His cultivation was extraordinary and his strength was unfathomable. It was said that he might be a pseudo-sage. The Buddhist sect sending the primordial chaos Buddha was equivalent to declaring war. Huang Zuntian stood up. The Buddhist sect had sent a Buddha, so how could he stand by and watch? The messenger disciple heaved a sigh of relief. Huang Zuntian immediately moved. A battle between pseudo-sages was about to break out. After 500 years, Hanju finally broke through. He deliberately slowed down towards the end. He wanted to hit a nice number of years, but at the last moment, he sped up his breakthrough when it was getting rushed. His dermic powers surged. Hanju checked his attributes panel as he consolidated his cultivation. Name, Hanju. Race, primordial fiend celestial, immeasurable emperor. Cultivation, perfected primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal realm, perfect sage. Technique, primordial chaos reincarnation great Tao, heavenly cycle body tempering. Great Tao of life and death, great Tao of karma, great Tao of extreme origin. Awesome! His lifespan had increased by 10 times. Hanju looked at this long string of numbers and was filled with satisfaction. It was already equivalent to immortality. Hanju calmed down and continued to consolidate his cultivation. After 40 years, his cultivation finally stabilized. He began to improve his sword Dao mystical powers. It only took him half a year. Hanju didn't directly cultivate the grand unity aspect. Instead, he checked his emails and asked about the recent situation. Your good friend Immortal Emperor Samsara has left the immortal world. Your good friend Han Ming has left the immortal world. Your good friend Huang Zuntian was attacked by your good friend Primordial Chaos Heavenly Devil. Your good friend Immortal Emperor Samsara created the reincarnation space. Your good friend Primordial Chaos Heavenly Devil was attacked by your good friend Li Dao Kong. Your good friend Shiju Dao was attacked by the ancient master of calamity. Your good friend Pen Xian has joined the divine palace. His providence has increased greatly. Why were the primordial chaos heavenly devil and Huang Zuntian fighting? Hanju frowned. In order to prevent the two spies from fighting, he had to visit them in their dreams. Their loyalty to him had reached 6 stars. Hanju was not afraid of being betrayed. When the two of them learned that the other party was on their side, they were both shocked. However, they didn't dare to act recklessly in front of Hanju and could only agree not to become enemies. Hanju sent a dream to Li Daokong. This fellow was a very stubborn person. Hanju was worried that he would fight the primordial chaos heavenly devil to death. Li Daokong was silent. After a long while, Li Daokong asked, "Sect Master, how many people have you planted exactly?" He used to think that Hanju was not shrewd enough and only knew how to cultivate diligently. He suddenly felt that he had seen wrongly. He was too shrewd. One of the Buddhas was actually his subordinate. Hanju said, "This matter cannot be made public. I trust you. You will become a sage of the hidden sect in the future, so I'm letting you know in advance." Li Daokong nodded. "Thank you for your kindness, Sect Master. I have something to say. I took Han Yuan as my disciple. I already know. I want to treat Han Yu as my successor. He might suffer and even die." Li Daokong was very hesitant when he said this. Although he had a strong personality, he was not stupid. Hanju said, "Up to you." With that, he removed the dream. After returning to reality, Hanju snorted coldly. "If I want to protect him, how can he die young?" Hanju thought proudly. He was no longer the same as before. In this immortal world, he had such confidence. After settling all of this, Hanju began to cultivate the grand unity aspect. The further one progressed in the grand unity aspect, the harder it was to cultivate it. It was not that the essence of the fiend celestial was stronger, but that the power of the fiend celestial dharma idols repelled each other and was very difficult to coexist. This cultivation lasted for 200 years. Hanju cultivated another 50 chaotic fiend celestial Dharma idols and couldn't create a new one. They were respectively the defying Dao fiend celestial, the surging fiend celestial, the roaming fiend celestial, the spiral fiend celestial, the sly smile fiend celestial, the 49 authority fiend celestial, the dragon form fiend celestial, the creation fiend celestial, the realm fiend celestial, the useless fiend celestial, the influential fiend celestial, the sensory fiend celestial, the memory devourer fiend celestial, the negative karma fiend celestial, the stellar fiend celestial, the omnipresent fiend celestial, the devilish evil fiend celestial, the sunken fiend celestial, the epic supremacy fiend celestial, and the ancestral fiend celestial. Chi breath fiend celestial, green lotus fiend celestial, attack fiend celestial, existence fiend celestial, plane fiend celestial, exterminate fiend celestial, spirit connection fiend celestial, extinction fiend celestial, non-distance fiend celestial, withered fiend celestial, time fiend celestial, ancient fiend celestial, great firmament fiend celestial, Dao chaser fiend celestial, spiritless fiend celestial, emperor Dao fiend celestial, emotion fiend celestial, rebirth fiend celestial, instant fiend celestial, divination fiend celestial, creator lord fiend celestial, soul origin fiend celestial, ashen fiend celestial, heavenly cycle supreme fiend celestial, exposure fiend celestial, rule fiend celestial, grant fiend celestial, blessing fiend celestial, red dust fiend celestial, and stubborn fiend celestial. Hanju began the simulation trial and adapted to the power of these new fiend celestial Dharma idols. In the blink of an eye, 10 years passed. Apart from ancestor Shitian and Dijuan, Hanju could directly kill all existences in the simulation trial. After accumulating 224 fiend celestial Dharma idols, no one below the sages could resist him. Awesome! The increase in strength made Hanju regain his hot-blooded state. He really wanted to find a freedom sage to fight. Forget it. Calm down. I can't act recklessly. Hanju walked out of the Taoist temple and preached the Tao to all the living beings in the hidden sect. He preached for 100 years. You ovals up tes on Novlb, 100 years later, Hanju returned to the Taoist temple and began to observe the reincarnation space. The reincarnation space was not in the immortal world but in a corner of the dark forbidden zone. It was extremely far. Even as a sage, Hanju couldn't spy on the reincarnation space's exact situation. He had no choice but to send a dream to the reincarnation space for immortal Emperor Samsara to show him the situation. Currently, thousands of reincarnators were gathered in the river of destiny of the Earth immortal world, forming more than 100 illusory worlds. Creating a world required great dharmic powers, because these worlds were located in the river of destiny. If the reincarnators changed the fate of the Providence bearers in the illusory world, it would affect the river of destiny. Immortal Emperor Samsara showed Hanju the scene of the reincarnation space. There was a city in the reincarnation space. It was 1,000,000 kilometers big and could allow the reincarnators to rest. This city was very similar to an ancient city, but there were also some technological figures. The cultivation trend of the Earth immortal world has ended. What's popular now is something called science. By using science, living beings can leave their stars and explore the chaos. The one who created science was also a chaotic fiend celestial. He severed the spirit chi and used it to attract the faith of all living beings in the Earth immortal world to strengthen his providence. His strength is unfathomable. However, this chaotic fiend celestial is also afraid of Jin Yuanzi and doesn't dare to show himself usually. Immortal Emperor Samsara introduced. Hanju raised his eyebrows. Was this the truth of science? The end of science was theology? Was it just a lie fabricated by the gods? Hanju asked, is there a planet called Earth? Immortal Emperor Samsara said, yes. Earth was once the center of the Earth immortal world, but it's very weak now. What's the year on Earth? Earth has already existed for 10 billion years. The galactic year is 3200. Hanju remained silent. Either this was not the Earth of his previous life, or it had been a long time. The Earth he was familiar with had already changed. However, Hanju did not care about Earth or his previous life. He only cared about this life. Hanju said, "It's nothing. You should know what's special about Earth. Other than history, there's nothing unusual." Immortal Emperor Samsara nodded. He also knew the history of Earth. It belonged to the core civilization of the previous Earth immortal world. Unfortunately, that was only in the past. Ever since Chen Yuanzi left the Earth immortal world, the mysterious chaotic fiend Celestial had invaded. The Earth immortal world had already become a barren land. Hanju asked about some details about the reincarnators. The reincarnation space recruited reincarnators not from a single point of time, but from living beings from the Earth immortal world of all timelines. However, there was one thing. Two living beings with the same essence could not appear, which meant that if they chose this person, they could not choose the one on the other timelines. With Immortal Emperor Samsara's strength, crossing time was not a problem. As a mighty figure, Hanju was not afraid that others would travel through time to find his past self because he would be able to sense it. Several hours later, the dream ended. Immortal Emperor Samsara opened his eyes. He sat in a dark hall with two majestic statues standing beside him. A black-robed man appeared in front of him and said, "Master, some races in the Earth immortal world have discovered our existence and have already expressed hostility." Immortal Emperor Samsara said calmly, "It's a good opportunity to give the reincarnators a new mission. I'll release a new batch of Dharma treasures. You can let the wind out. In addition, choose 12 over gods. In the future, the 12 over gods will manage the reincarnation space. I still have to cultivate, so I'll stay behind the scenes." The black-robed man hurriedly agreed. Immortal Emperor Samsara let him leave. When he turned around, the black-robed man's eyes revealed excitement. He was about to ascend. Time passed quickly. Hanju opened his eyes and ended his cultivation again. Awesome! Even though he had already reached the perfected primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal realm, Hanju was still filled with the desire to cultivate. In the immortal world, he was already an absolutely invincible existence. However, he couldn't expect the immortal world to exist forever. Hanju stood up and stretched. The strange deity suddenly flew over. The strange deity didn't come to disturb him in Millenniums. It also found a place to cultivate. Its cultivation was related to Hanju. The stronger Hanju was, the stronger it became. Now, it also had the strength of a sage, but it was far inferior to Hanju and did not have the status of a sage. Hanju glanced at it and asked with his eyes. The strange deity waved its hand silently. Through telepathy, Hanju learned that the strange deity had sensed the existence of the inauspicious deity. It had already infiltrated the immortal world. The inauspicious deity was formed by the inauspicious evil of the dark forbidden zone. Only after countless years of nurturing could an inauspicious deity be born. Hanju was surprised. Why could the inauspicious deity enter the immortal world? Why did the heavenly Tao not reject it? Thinking of something, he suddenly looked up. In the 9 heavens, purple light filled the air. A vast heavenly might was brewing. A figure stood in the center of the heavenly might. Fang Liang! His aura changed, becoming ethereal and unfathomable. Even Hanju couldn't see through him. His cultivation was already a pseudo-sage, but his aura and soul essence were unfathomable to Hanju. He checked Fang Liang's profile picture. This fellow had already become the Tao ancestor. Could it be that because Fang Liang had become a Tao ancestor and the heavenly Tao was in chaos, he had given the inauspicious deity a chance? Since Fang Liang had become a Tao ancestor, why were the other sages not moving? Hanju sent a dream to Qiushilai. In the dream, he directly asked this question. After being enslaved by the primordial heavenly prison, Qiushilai was absolutely loyal to him. Qiushilai asked with a strange expression, "Isn't Fang Liang your disciple?" How can the sages not deduce it? Who dares to have any objections? Hanju was stunned. Just because of this? On second thought, it made sense. No sage dared to offend him. Even heavenly venerate Xian Du had to be polite to Hanju. In their opinion, Feng Liang's change might be his intention. Fuxishan once came to ask me. It can be considered a probe. After that, the sages ignored Feng Liang. Speaking of which, why can Feng Liang absorb the heavenly Tao's providence? Chou Shilai asked curiously. Hanju realized that the sages only knew that Feng Liang was absorbing providence and not transforming into the Tao ancestor. Hanju didn't hide anything from him. Chou Shilai widened his eyes. Crap! Chou Shilai muttered to himself, his expression becoming solemn. Hanju asked, "What's wrong?" Chou Shilai's gaze was faint as he said, "Before the Tao ancestor left, he chose a successor. It was the sage of the human school from before. He was plotted against and died." Li Moyi, who had already left the heavenly Tao, had no choice but to return. Hanju suddenly recalled that the human school indeed didn't have a heavenly Tao sage. They only left behind a wisp of primordial purple qi. If the Tao ancestor revives and knows of this, I'm afraid we sages will be held responsible. The once majestic heavenly sect master is still being suppressed in the ancient desolate and will never transcend. The more Chou Shilai spoke, the more terrified he became. In the hearts of the sages, the Tao ancestor was the strongest existence and also the existence they respected the most. If the Tao ancestor hadn't left, they wouldn't have dared to fight. Now that the Tao ancestor had returned, Hanju consoled him. "Don't worry. Feng Liang only obtained the Tao ancestor's identity. He's not the true Tao ancestor." "Really?" Chou Shilai heaved a sigh of relief. Hanju instructed him not to spread this matter and left the dream. After returning to reality, Hanju opened his eyes. The strange deity came over again. "You want to go out?" The strange deity nodded crazily. Hanju thought for a moment and said, "I can let you out. But you are not allowed to leave the heavenly Tao or harm other living beings other than the inauspicious deity. Otherwise, you will be expelled by the rules of the heavenly Tao and I won't be able to protect you in the future." The strange deity waved its hand in a promise. Hanju waved his sleeve and sent it out. This fellow was very cautious. If he was not confident, he wouldn't take the initiative to look for Hanju. The inauspicious deity was about to suffer. Then, Hanju walked out of the Taoist temple and came to the Taoist temple beside him. He raised his hand and knocked on the door. The door suddenly opened, and Xing Hongxian stood up to welcome him. After Hanju entered, the door closed. Zhangju and the Crimson Fox seemed to not see it and continued cultivating. Hanju walked to the small table and sat down. He poured himself tea and asked, "How's your cultivation recently?" Xing Hongxian sat down and smiled like a flower. "Not bad. I'm getting closer and closer to the Zenith Heaven realm. However, I wonder when I can become a pseudo-sage and give birth to your child." Xing Hongxian had changed her potential due to her reincarnation and had obtained the providence of the human emperor. After cultivating for so many years, it was not rare for her to be close to the Zenith Heaven realm. She was no longer a mortal. Hanju said angrily, "What's the use of having children? Be careful not to waste your cultivation energy." Xing Hongxian curled her lips. "I want to leave you a descendant. If you leave the hidden sect one day and go out adventuring, there will be a legitimate son to control the hidden sect for you. These geniuses of the hidden sect are all arrogant. The sect will be leaderless in the future. Something will happen if you're gone." Xing Hongxian blinked. Thinking back carefully, Hanju seemed to have never left the sect alone. Even if he came to the immortal world, he would bring them along. Instead, they had all left the hidden sect alone. Thinking of this, Xing Hongxian asked curiously, "Aren't you tired of staying in the sect?" Hanju asked, "Why? No one should be your match now. Don't you want to go out and take a look? Have you been possessed by the heavenly Tao?" Discover NW Chpter NN6EL. By Kong Hanju looked at her warily. He hesitated, asking himself if he should purify her. Xing Hongxian said helplessly, "You're too cautious. You're already a sage, but you're still afraid of going out." When she met Hanju for the first time, he was still a youth. At that time, he was very cautious. Now that he was a sage, he was still so cautious. Perhaps this was the reason why he could become a sage. The two of them continued chatting about the past and the present. Several months later, Hanju left Xing Hongshuan's Taoist temple and came to the Fusong tree. The disciples stood up and bowed to him. After tens of thousands of years, even after moving to the 100-peak Immortal River, the Fusong tree was still where the personal disciples gathered. The black-held chicken flew over and shouted, "Master, I want to complain." Hanju asked, "What?" The black-held chicken shouted, "Ada and Xiao want to go out." Ada and Xiao were golden crows. Back then, because their potential was not good, they were expelled from the family. Now, they were already deity realm existences, but they were still a distance away from the zenith heaven realm. Ada hurriedly said, "No, it's talking nonsense. It's just that a golden crow is using the bloodline resonance to summon us." Xiao trembled in anger as the true sun flame on his body burned. Hanju counted with his fingers. It turned out that the Golden Crow Demon Emperor was summoning the Golden Crows of the myriad worlds. The Jia school's attacks were very fierce. If this continued, the demons would definitely disband. The demons might not be wiped out, but as a member of the demon race's royalty, the Golden Crow Divine Clan could not survive. Hanju said, "After reaching the pseudo-sage realm, you can go out whenever you want. Before that, don't even think about it or fan the flames." With that, he walked in front of the Fusong tree and began to observe it. There were already more than 300 spatial vortexes connected to the tree. Hanju didn't expect there to be so many worlds outside the heavenly Tao. Fortunately, these worlds were far inferior to the immortal world. After so many years, the Fusong tree's cultivation had already reached the sixth mystic divine origin and could step into the zenith heaven realm at any time. Hanju asked the Fusong tree to open those spatial vortexes, and he started to spy on the world inside. The other disciples did not dare to disturb him and cultivated separately. Buzhou Divine Mountain. A three-legged golden crow with a wingspan of 1,000,000 feet sped over from the west, wanting to go up the mountain. Boom! A surging sword chi erupted, scattering the sea of clouds and shaking the Buzhou Divine Mountain. The three-legged golden crow had no choice but to stop and say, "I'm the Golden Crow Demon Emperor of the demon race. I have come to visit Senior Li Daokong." "No!" Li Daokong's voice was extremely cold and firm. The living beings on the Buzhou Divine Mountain were all very nervous. They had long heard of the Golden Crow Demon Emperor. Although Li Daokong was ranked first on the Heavenly Tao Providence board, the Golden Crow Demon Emperor was not bad either. He also had demons under him. "This matter involves the Buzhou Divine Mountain," the Golden Crow Demon Emperor said in a low voice. He didn't expect Li Daokong to not give him face. "Get lost." Li Daokong's voice was like thunder, deafening all the living beings on the Buzhou Divine Mountain. "Humph!" The Golden Crow Demon Emperor snorted coldly and left. 100 years later, the demons rushed towards the Buzhou Divine Mountain from all directions. Demonic aura filled the air and formed dark clouds that enveloped the Buzhou Divine Mountain as if a calamity was coming. Far away in the 100-peak Immortal River, Hanju suddenly opened his eyes. He frowned slightly and looked over. Countless demons surged from all directions at the Buzhou Divine Mountain. They were like an ocean that wanted to drown it. The strongest among these demons was only at the Immortal Emperor realm. The demons wanted to attack the Buzhou Divine Mountain. However, these demons were so weak. "Wait!" Hanju's expression darkened. "I see!" The demons had used more than 100 million demon soldiers to climb the Buzhou Divine Mountain. They wanted to anger Li Daokong. If he took action and killed these cannon fodder, the immense negative karma would negate his heavenly Tao providence. At that time, he would not be able to protect his position at the top of the heavenly Tao providence board. Hanju pinched his fingers to deduce. He couldn't guess which sage was supporting the demons. In his opinion, a sage was definitely supporting them. Otherwise, if the demons were expelled by the Jia school, how could they have the guts to make enemies again? I want to know who is supporting the Golden Crow Demon Emperor. Hanju thought. 160 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So many. Hanju's heart sank. He immediately chose to continue. Then, he entered an illusion. When he opened his eyes again, Hanju came to a crimson hall covered in flames. He saw the Golden Crow Demon Emperor kneeling in front of a figure. Daijun! Dijuan looked down at the Golden Crow Demon Emperor and said indifferently, I already know the situation of the demons. The Golden Crow Demon Emperor gritted his teeth and said, Ancestor, please save the Golden Crow Divine Clan. Dijuan said, I'm not your ancestor. The Golden Crow Divine Clan's Dijuan is only one of my Dharma idols. I have long transcended karma and am not within the illusion. But the Golden Crow Divine Clan have no sages. It's very difficult for you to gain a foothold in the immortal world. You can only rise again and again. You will be wiped out time and time again. You will struggle at death's door and reincarnate endlessly. The Golden Crow Demon Emperor was silent. Dijuan continued, however, I have a way to help the Golden Crow Divine Clan transcend fate. If I succeed, the Golden Crow Divine Clan will produce a sage. If I fail, the Golden Crow Divine Clan will be wiped out. You are not allowed to expose my existence. Do you dare? The Golden Crow Demon Emperor suddenly raised his head and said, I dare. The Golden Crow Divine Clan has no way out. Let the demons rush to the Buzhou Divine Mountain and force Li Daokong to take action to reduce the Heavenly Tao's providence. I will give you a Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure. You can go to the Dark Forbidden Zone to retrieve it. I will guide you. All right. The Golden Crow Demon Emperor was extremely excited. The words Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure made him dizzy. The illusion ended. Hanju opened his eyes and frowned. Dijuan was also targeting the Heavenly Tao, and he even gave the Golden Crow Demon Emperor a Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure. Something was wrong. Didn't these mighty figures already transcend the Heavenly Tao and even the Great Tao? Why were they still attacking the Heavenly Tao? Hanju continued to deduce the reason. It involves the karma of an existence that surpasses the limits of the system. It cannot be deduced. Hanju raised his eyebrows. Dijuan was not that strong. In his understanding, only the Tao ancestors surpassed the system's limits. Could it be that the reason why Dijuan attacked was because of the Tao ancestor? Hanju couldn't figure it out. He sent a voice transmission to Li Daokong and asked him not to attack the demons. He should directly use an array formation to encircle the Buzhou Divine Mountain. The Jia school was chasing after the demons. As long as the demons did not go to the Buzhou Divine Mountain, they would collapse soon. Li Daokong immediately cast a spell. Sword light rose from the edge of the Buzhou Divine Mountain like swords of light floating in the air. The tips of the swords faced the sky, looking magnificent.